America's Madman-in-Chief. I wanted to talk about this column by former Clinton Secretary Robert B. Reich. But first, we have news on the climate change front. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, has just published the next generation of climate scenarios. Big news! The new framework has eliminated the most extreme scenarios that have dominated climate research over much of the past several decades. For the 21st century, this range will be smaller than assessed before. On the high end of the range, the CMI P6 high emission levels, quantified by SSP 5-8.5, have become implausible, based on trends in the cost of renewables, the emergence of climate policy, and recent emission trends. Bear this in mind with Reich's column. Reich writes, "Americans are far worse off today than we were before Trump started his war. We're now paying $1.50 a gallon more for gas on average." This is a humorous observation from Reich. For those of us who recall that he was one of the biggest proponents of phasing out fossil fuels and forcing all consumers into electric vehicles or using mass transit, or just walking to replace your gasoline-driven car or truck. In fact, just last year, in 2025, Reich gave a call-to-action speech at Berkeley, where he told students the following. "We've let fossil fuel companies write the rules for too long," he said, noting that the world's 20 largest oil companies have produced over 35% of global emissions. Hold your elected leaders accountable. Demand they end subsidies for oil giants and tax carbon emissions yesterday. But wait a moment. Reich just complained this week in May 2026 that gasoline prices were up due to the conflict with Iran. Isn't that his goal, to make purchasing fossil fuels inaccessible to ordinary Americans?
It's time for a Green New Deal now. The two central problems of our time are climate change and stagnant wages, with widening inequality. A Green New Deal would tackle both. For decades, scientists have warned of the catastrophic consequences of carbon pollution and climate change. But the window is closing for action. Experts now predict that within 10 years, climate change will be irreversible, devastating the economy and threatening the health and safety of millions of Americans and countless people around the world. A Green New Deal would provide massive investments in the clean energy infrastructure necessary to cut carbon pollution, creating good-paying jobs and revitalizing the economy. The basis of the proposal would be a carbon tax on polluters, creating incentives for companies to cut their use of fossil fuels and switch to clean energy. The revenue would then be invested in programs like job training and education, new construction, energy efficiency, and reforestation. Now, critics will claim that America can't afford a Green New Deal. Baloney. Clean energy is already cheaper than coal in many parts of the country, and wind and solar are on pace to be cheaper than natural gas by 2020. Clean energy also creates more jobs than fossil fuels, and more Americans already work in solar than in coal, gas, and oil extraction combined. In fact, America can't afford not to invest in clean energy. According to a recent report by a group of federal agencies, if we fail to act, climate change will shrink the American economy by 10% by the end of the century. In the depths of the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt had the courage to bring America back from the economic devastation by investing in the American people. It's time to renew that spirit to meet the challenges of the 21st century.
So the same people putting stickers on every gas pump in your neighborhood saying that Trump did that are wanting still to forcibly take away the option of fossil fuel for you and your family. They weren't concerned with gasoline prices up in America before. In fact, they proudly boasted that they were going to take away your option of driving a non-electric vehicle. Thank you.